BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. Welcome to this new appointment of 50 Minutes of Experience. Today I'm with Giovanni Ambrosio. Welcome, Giovanni.
Hi, thank you.
So today we talk about your experience as a photographer, as a human, and I would like, as you know, if you can introduce something about yourself, and then we can go a bit more deeper in some philosophical
questions. Sure. So I'm an Italian photographer, Paris-based, even if not all the time, since I've traveled between Italy and France. And then I could say that I'm basically a photographer, but I also work with painting and with a lot of literature, since my initial background is literature. I studied literature in Italy, and then photography came after that. So I normally actually mix photography with painting and also text. So I could probably say that I'm a visual artist working mainly with photography, I could say.
Yeah. I think it's the label that fits better, no? And I'm sure I've read that you come from the Campania, no?
Yeah, sure. I'm from Naples. Actually, not from the city center, but from the Vesuvian area, which is a little bit different. And I underline that since I'm working on that area.
Well, I can ask you where exactly?
Yeah, sure. It's on the other side of the Vesuvio. It's on the countryside. So it's a little city called Ottaviano, and on the other side there's the sea, and then on this side.
That's really funny for me. Really funny for me because I come from Santa Anastasia, and
okay, right, cool.
And yeah, it's really funny that we are doing a podcast in English in another language. You live in Paris, I live in Berlin, but exactly. We come from probably what they are 2 kilometers distance. Exactly. So we grew up in the same we can say areas.
Yeah, of course, it's a very specific area.
Yeah,
as you know.
Yeah, I know exactly. So let's talk about that. From that, I'm really curious about if you think your visual art is influenced from that, from growing in the Vesuvian area of Naples.
I must say that I ended up understanding that. I didn't know at the beginning, but at a certain point I understood that I'm totally influenced by the experience of living there. I've grew up there. I studied there. I used to live there when I was at university. So of course, at a certain point, I understood that I have, especially in photography, an archaeological approach to everything. Fragment is my main matter, I could say. I mean, if I do a documentary work, I don't believe at all in narrativity, but I believe in the idea of collecting fragments. And at a certain point, I understood that this is totally related to the place where I come from, in which archaeology is something, I could say even mundane. It's something really present in everyday life. And at a certain point, I understood that it's something I'm used to. My brother is an archaeologist. We used to be an archaeologist. So I think it's something really deep inside me, but it came up after some years I started this work. And on another level, I now say officially my biography that I'm totally influenced by, I guess my main education in visual art is coming from the church. I used to, as a lot of people, I used to spend time at certain point of my life in church, and I got super bored during during the functions. So I started looking up at the ceiling and then spending hours looking at paintings. And this has been like something really hugely influencing me. So on those two levels, I can say that I've really been influenced by coming from the Vesuvian area, of course.
Yeah. I think I'm also too really influenced from that area, and even the way I use not only to express myself as a visual artist, but even in this project, the way I try to go really deep in the field with other photographer or visual artists. So let's talk about your photography, and I don't want to really focus on photography side, but I think it's a really important to talk about that also, because it's probably something helping you also to realize what you can express also with painting and other kind of experimental art project. That you have a lot of different work, and what you started to say before, that you are influenced from the church, that something is jumped totally in my mind when I watch your work, because I don't know, in a way, as something really related to the religion, and it's wonderful that, because it's not really clearly. It's not something jump to your eyes so directly. It's something how say hide behind your work, and also your photography are really various, and that's what I love, because I'm usually, if you have heard some podcasts, you know that most of the time I criticize the way we are labeled from art categories, and what I love of your work is most of the time is researching inside of some field are totally different from a capture to another, from a picture to another, and that give a kind of rhythmic to the work and to the narrative. And so let's talk about, for example, there's a really interesting project in your website, is a Shof Shebab, and I would love to know your point of view. I mean, in this case, with your voice, about what you show in the images, and what probably is not showed here in the images, and what is your experience in doing this project?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for all the things you have said about my work. That's interesting to have such a feedback on my kind of a production, which can be really a really big amount of fragments sometimes, and I wonder sometimes if something comes up from that. And speaking of fragments, I mean, Shuf Shuf Shabab is really something which is a collection of fragments, and it's work related to the idea of travel photography, which is a very common genre in photography. And I work that way. I really like to use like formalized shapes, because they are very easy to work with. Like doing travel photography is probably a subgenre of documentary photography, and it gives you like a frame in which you can do variations about something which is related to the content. But I don't believe in depiction. I don't believe in a clear line of narrativity. So again, I just collect like fragments and things I take from the reality, which actually gives to me abstract pictures, because of course, if I refer to Latin, the etymology of abstract is to take from, and basically I just take from the reality some stuff I can just put into my camera. And on another level, the travel is related to mobility and to the path we have, like going into a place. But this mobility is to me essential, not only on a physical point of view, but also on a conceptual point of view, I can't stay in a place like observing like a researcher, since I'm not a researcher and I'm just a photographer trying to understand what's surrounding me. So Shabab is something which has had a huge impact on me, because it comes from a double trip to a very complicated area in the world, which is Israel-Palestine. And it's a zone in the world really super layered. I mean, we should be historian to understand what was there before going there. We should be observer in sociology, in urbanism, in history of countries, to really understand what's going on there. And I'm just a photographer in that case, you know, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind me, on my side, and, you know, just in front of me. And I just can't stop. I just have to go by, since also because I'm in this place, not only to like take pictures of what I'm seeing, but I have another purpose, which is another work. So I just have to collect all that stuff and not stopping passing by. And all what can I do is like taking some fragments and putting them there in some chapters and trying at least to relate about my experience of that. I don't want to say nothing about those countries. I just can, you know, put into some boxes voices I've heard, things I've seen, scenes that were impressive to me. That's it. So it's like a travel journal. And I would say like an essay about photography itself, as it's always in my work. In every single work I do, I just try to ask me what I can do with photography and why should I do it.
I love this project. I'm scrolling by page to page on issue, and I'm asking to myself, did you print this book?
No, I didn't. Actually, it is a project, but I didn't. Also because, there's also some painting inside, because, you know, there's another important topic in this project, in this book. It's the absence of people faces, because I also don't believe in people depiction, but most of the people are depicted in this book. They actually asked me for a picture, but then I had to hide their faces. I had to erase their faces, and erasing is also something related to my way of doing journals. I do a lot of journals, but I actually erase them with painting. So I did it also in this book, and which makes very sense to me, because, you know, depiction, especially in like complex zones like that, can be very, very violent. And I don't want to show people, but I want to show the idea that people at a certain point ask me for a picture.
I love the book, and I explain you why also in the thing. There's a lot to learn from the way you mounted the book. I can imagine that the book is made about 100% from yourself, no?
No, actually, it's an interesting collaboration with my assistant, and it was like a very important moment in life of everybody. 2 years ago, it was during the big lockdown. I was in Paris, and I had a workspace, and then I used to spend there all of my day, which allowed me also to go out in the morning and to go out back in the evening. So I had an excuse to go out. And then I used to meet with my assistant, and then we spend days working like from 10 in the morning, like midnight in the evening. And then, you know, like basically having a dialogue on the pictures. And the basis was, I've already done the pictures. I teach you how to use InDesign and how to frame pictures for a book. And then you give like your gaze on my work, and you are free to reshape it in a way. So it was an interesting collaboration. The books actually comes from this exchange I had during this, can say, black days in March, April, May of 2020.
It's as I was saying, yeah, it's the word that comes to my mind is sublime. I like the for sure the storytelling is inside. I like the way, and I like what you said about the traveling. I mean, a lot of photographer, a lot of people in general, not only photographer, but tourists, they have this concept in mind of traveling and the picture of traveling. They represent always the same places, same pictures, same situation, same stories. And in your book, in this case, I was a bit surprised that you said is a just travel there because for me it seems like much more than a travel, but means yeah, you in a way and your assistant put it in a rhythmic a series of images. They talk a lot about your perspective, your way to see the world. In this case, yeah, for sure matter that is Palestine, but matter much more what is your impression, what is your way to watch at the city, and how you discover a place. And as you know, there are a lot of perspective also from the ground. This is something always fascinates me a lot. Also, in my work, I shoot really often at the ground. The shapes are on the ground. Sometimes, there are some acid or the rain or everything you can find in the shape of the ground. And this for me, it means a lot because in a way, it's a kind of really travel inside of the book. So the travel, I think, in this case, is inside of the book, because in a way, I will imagine when you was there, you did also something else than taking picture of shapes of things that was attracting you unconsciously. And yeah, for sure, you spend time eating or speaking with someone. That's sure. And when you told me, then yeah, it was a travel. I started to also relate in a way to a kind of a dystopian travel. The travel inside of the travel, and then the travel inside of your perspective of a part of the sea travel. So I think this is a game really interesting inside of the book. And even there are some pictures so particular, really particular. I mean, they are not only, yeah, as you said, shooting the picture. To some people asked you that to shoot the picture, so then you rework it on and deleted them faces. And in a way, I think also this is so interesting because give us also the opportunity to think destructuring what the image from the base give us, and putting away the face in a way give us the opportunity to see a bit more in the details what is about. So if we have to check if they are men, if they are women, what they dress, and in a way we have like a kind of imagining the situation there. No, it's a bit like really reading letters in a book, no, and imaging the character of this story. And then there are a lot of moments of pure solitude that I don't know if there was a real solitude or not, but in a way, yeah, it's something is inside of the line of the storytelling. Yeah, as I said, I think you should print this book.
Yeah, so that would be beautiful.
Print a fanzine, print where else you want. I mean,
you're right. I should do that. And just to answer to some important things you mentioned, the idea of looking at the soil, looking stones, and looking like on the ground. I think this is totally related to the place where we come from. But we are obsessed with stones. At a certain moment, I understood that Italian photography is really related to architecture, at least in north of Italy. And when you go in south of Italy, especially in Naples, where there's a photography school, by the way, people are obsessed more with stones than architecture, and then also with theater. And there's something else I can say which is huge influence on me, this idea of theatrality of every situation, which is also inside this book. And, you know, I can say that it's travel photography because also this is like a clear shape, and it's something you can put on your front, because, you know, when you go in Palestine, Israel, you face like a so complex situation, and it's so thrilling, it's so violent, then you can just totally understand what's going on. You feel, you know, the violence coming from a part, the violence coming from another. And I guess that the form of self-defense and also the solitude of loneliness, inside that you can put this really basic shape of travel photography. It's super, super simple. It's like a defense, but of course, avoiding this kind of travel photography, which is totally related to corporate photography, as you were saying before. It's like either like a very superficial documentary photography, either actually a corporate photography, like depicting places in the way we are expecting they should be depicted, turning travel photography into something really useless, like stock photography. You don't understand nothing, you don't learn nothing, by the way. So yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's as you said, it's really something from who listen this podcast will learn a lot. I think watching then your website, it's really full of content that are really interesting, deep, and also in not only in photography. I mean, in sociology, in psychology, and so on. Philosophy, a lot of philosophy there is inside, and a lot of humanity. And this is what I appreciate a lot. And it's really hard to find work like yours. I want to say that. I mean, I talk with hundreds of photographers, so then it's really unique. And yeah, I'm happy that in a way we were grew also in a country and in two villages really close.
Sure.
It's really nice. But yeah, we our 50 minutes of experience are a bit more today. So then I want to just go to the next things. Another book that you also have on issue is Dust of Days. This is in particular, I just want to spend a little talk about, because it's about our country, we can say our main mother city, and it's interesting the way it's composed, the book, because it's really a collection of fragments. And just tell me what is your impression of this work now, more than what was the impression before when you did it?
It's I mean, it's an interesting question, since this work has been shaped, like I could say, decades after making the pictures. I mean, most of the pictures come from my archive when I used to do analogical photography, and then they were like fragments somewhere, and then I put them together at a certain point. And I did it like probably last year or 2 years ago. And I still think it's an interesting collection of fragments, and it's to me a starting point. To me, this is like again a possible archive, and to me, archive is like a score in music. I have something which I can again reshape, and I'm just waiting for the opportunity and the space to reshape that. So it's to me, like now I have a concrete archive which I can use. So I'm really happy with the idea of opening a drawer, finding something like in a shape. So this is my impression right now.
Nice impression. It's come up to my mind that in the last 20 podcasts, I'm starting to repeat many times that I think that most of the time we are used to relate photography as, especially in analog photography, a lot of people tell me that they start analog because they have to think more about the picture. And I started to, go a bit on the opposite way and say, yeah, but I think it's not really important to think a lot about what we should, but it's much more important to think about what we select. And I think I'm going always more and more inside of this deep research of photography for me as a tool of communication. And to believe in that, to believe in don't think anymore about what you should, but try to don't think, because then in a way you will be again there exploring yourself unconsciously. Yeah, in a way or another, we relate to many influences we have, and that's why it's really important to don't think and then to choose and to select from your archive. And maybe I also advise to someone to forget about your picture for 10 years and then go to develop and look what is inside, and you will start to really shoot picture and to make photography. Also because I want to talk with you about this topic. Today we are oversaturated of images. It's a topic I think it's really important for many artists and many visual artists, and many of them, they are showing that in different ways. I mean, it's something started already after the 1950, I think, with the concept of post-production, and then was talk also from some photography I love, as Alfredo Jar, with some manipulation of a project made in Rwanda. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this oversaturating of images today, and in which way you think we can benefit, and which way is totally negative for us that?
Actually, I don't know if there's something negative in that. I mean, we are totally part of this world, and I don't mean to have like a moralist gaze on, everyday practices of people. I mean, there's always a reason why people do a certain thing, and I think that it's very interesting that we have conversational images, and then we can share a lot of things just by using pictures, which actually is what we do as professional. I mean, we have like a very small shape, and we intend to have a lot of things inside, and then just showing it. We can evoke words, concepts, ideas, even personal poetics, So everybody actually is doing exactly the same, but without like the art frame, which is totally fine to me. And of course, now the situation is we, as somebody told, we are homines photographici. Mm-hmm. Actually, we all take pictures, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm not against. I'm not favorable. I'm just observing that. I do know right now that there's something very interesting, but I don't have the right tools to analyze it. Is that the thing is, we all are obsessed with archive and with some memory of the future, because we are all taking all-time pictures of things going on in front of us in every kind of situation. I mean, like in dramatic situations, but also in like a mundane situation. Sometimes we just buy an ice cream and just we take a picture to send it to somebody else. It's not an event in the very sense of the term, but still we do it. And the most interesting thing also to me is that we all collect archives, and but differently from before, this archive is always in our pocket, in our mobile phone, which is very interesting to me. So we all have this kind of, natural relationship to the archive. I don't know if in the future we will have time to give a look to these archives, but actually that's what we do. We build up archives of images, and that's it.
Yeah, it's interesting, your point of view. I think it's a good question. We will watch at our archive of picture.
I don't know if we have time.
Interesting question. I will write down, and I will try to to make some thoughts about in a next vlog. Okay, so last question, then we finish our talk. An experience you would like to do it in the near future, but something you would really like to realize in your life?
That's an interesting question. I think that I would like if I stay on the art level, not in the personal level, I would like to use my archive to work on a very classic space, like a gallery space, like an institutional gallery space, just to understand what's going on there, what's the relationship with walls and with the city in which the gallery is. That would be super interesting to me, because normally, I'm totally out of galleries and this kind of market space, while normally I work a lot, especially for one specific work with institutional space, which is completely different. And also there's another kind of dynamic. So that's something I would like to have in my life, and not far away from here. And then on a really personal level, there's something which I would like to be involved still in. It's like to be in other places which I still don't know, like in Israel, Palestine, like for Shuf Shabab. Yeah.
So that was really great, this talk. I hope to have other talk with you in the future, in the next year, and to explore more about your way to think, your way to communicate with visual art, and to also be update about your next creation. And if anyone want to see the work of Giovanni, there are the link in the description. I suggest a lot to watch with so taking 1 hour for yourself and watching the website, reading and scrolling from a page to another and go back, because really transform you in another vision, I think. And if you want to comment this podcast, you can use the last link in the description to send a voice message and join this episode. Thank you a lot again, Giovanni, for your time. And
thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, and if you want to learn more about us, you can visit the link allmylinks.com, Berlin Explorer, or our website BEEXproject.com. And if you want to follow us, you can always get news from Instagram on our account BEEX Project. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode.